It's a creation spirituality walk of the labyrinth. So the traditional ways of walking a labyrinth on the way in, before you go in, you remember any intention you have. But because this is CS, I think it's important to get in touch with that first path and remember all the things you're thankful for and all the reasons to have awe in your life when you look at nature around you. And then on the way in, we're on the neg- via negativa, the second path, and we release whatever we need to release. If it's pain, or if it's noise, if it's things, we release whatever we need to release. And maybe by the time we reach the center, maybe then we can be in our center and be in touch with silence and receive. The center is where we receive and where we receive inspiration to create, to co create with the universe. That's where cosmogenesis can be inspired. And then on the way out, maybe we're a teeny bit transformed and we think about how we might want to change our world just a little bit, little steps perhaps. And then we reflect. So those are the steps if you've never walked a labyrinth before. And so we're going to start with Thanksgiving, because I learned from Diane Longboat during the pandemic. I learned anything important begins with Thanksgiving, and so we are going to do that. We are going to do that. And then I went on and I read Robin Wall Kimmerer, and she talks about this wonderful cycle that occurs, that it's the cycle of kinship, Kin, as in relatives. When we pay attention to all those more than human beings around us, the ones that were here before humans ever landed on this earth, we develop a gift giving, a gift thinking, because we haven't done anything to receive those beautiful trees or all that great ocean, um, or the calcium in our bones. We've done nothing to receive all the blessings that we have. And that leads us to being thankful and thinking about these trees and these whales and these fish and these birds as our relatives. Some indigenous peoples even speak of the tree people. They speak of these beings as our relatives. And therefore, we want to pay more attention to them the way we want to pay attention to all those relatives that we love. And the beautiful cycle continues. We pay attention, we realize how blessed we are. So I learned that from her, and I wanted to share that with you. And so, because labyrinths are connected to both place and people, because the first labyrinths were on the ground or on the floor, we want to deepen this connection and now begin with that attitude of gratitude. And I honor the cosmos. And those of you who are mobile, if you want to stand up, terrific. I'm going to direct us in the 4 directions. You don't have to if you don't choose to. I look north to the earth of which I'm made. And I look east to the air within my lungs. And take a big breath on that one. I look south to the warmth of the sacrificing sun that provides us with photosynthesis, and plants, provides us and the plants with photosynthesis, food. I look west to the water, without which I would die. And I know I'm thankful for the stars above me that provided the dust which formed the calcium of my bones. And I look beneath me to the minerals and microbes in mycelial systems, unseen grounding and essential communication under the trees. And the soul within me yearns to acknowledge and come into balance with the web of which I am just a tiny part. I am so grateful. I honor the plant beings and the animal beings. I honor indigenous peoples before we begin, for their memory is the correct starting point for human history on Earth. They were the original custodians of this land. They held ceremony for eons. And here I honor the Edisto Natchez Cusco tribe and Chief John Glenn Creel. And they're still fighting. It was quite recent, before they were, like 2008, before they were even acknowledged as an autonomous tribe. I regret that. I invite the ancestral spirits to guard and bless this circle. We have made a circle, even though it's virtual. I invite the angels of light to safeguard all of us and all walkers everywhere, on every labyrinth and every path. I thank the great mystery who conceived this, who became this, and who remains with us. We are so grateful. So today we are on this March equinox, and we in the Northern Hemisphere are getting ready to have more light. And I know we've been noticing it every morning. It's a little brighter. It's nice. It's nice. And we want to try to rebalance ourselves, because balance, and this point, I talked about this back in September at the autumnal equinox. It has to do with bringing balance to ourselves, yes, our families and communities, our neighborhoods and world, and to trying to emulate the inherent homeostasis, the balance that exists in the cosmos if we allow it to do its thing. And of course, these days, the ocean's getting warmer because of us, because human intervention has upset this balance. So we're going to take a little walk here to rocks and balancing. And rock stacking has carried spiritual meaning across many cultures for many centuries. The act of balancing stones carries a practice of patience. It's sort of like playing that game where, I guess in the game you actually take pieces out of the stack. But it requires patience and a physical effort to create balance. Like some yoga positions, some poses require balance. Each rock can signify an intention of grace for thankfulness, or it can be offered up for another in need. And a stack of rocks like that one is called a cairn, and you may have already known that. And that reminded me of special rocks up north in Nuxux. It's a figure, it looks like a human, I think. It's made of piled stones or boulders, and it was made by humans to communicate with humans throughout the Arctic. So traditionally, it was made by the Inuit, and they're integral to Inuit culture, often intertwined with representations of Canada, the north of Canada. And it's a structure used for navigation in the frozen white north, where everything could look alike. And they're also used to mark sacred places. So if anybody views this YouTube from down under, you're getting ready for this kind of landscape, perhaps, you know, in the coming months. So, in the shape of a person, these Anaksaks signify safety, hope, friendship. Come this way. So, it's been transformed into a symbol of hope. And God knows we need a symbol of hope now. There are lots of reasons for people, especially young people, to feel hopeless about the future. But I think there's great reason to be hopeful. Because when we come together and make this kind of circle, which is a virtual circle, it's still very real. And it's connected to all other labyrinth walkers and all other labyrinth circles. And that's a reason to be hopeful. There are many good, kind circles being formed in this world, reaching all over the world. So I wrote a little poem a few years ago, balancing ourselves before we go forward. You know, I've just gone through some physical therapy for various little lower body surgeries, and balance is a big part of it. And now they've got me balancing and transferring a weight from one hand to the other. And you know, it's a little more challenging than you might think. So on this day, light and dark are even. Day and night in balance. So we stop to quiet ourselves, to reestablish sane proportions, to allocate time for both shadow and sun, and hold the seesaw in steady abeyance, just for today. We acknowledge the sameness and necessity. We feel suspended, waiting to move forward. Emerging from the cave, the sun can seem too bright. The darkness was good for allowing seeds to stretch roots and incubate. We've been looking in, reimagining the world we want to leave the children. Now, we're poised on this elegant cusp, looking out. What sacred activism can we embrace? We've been protected. Are we ready to connect? So we're going to take some time to walk. And I was thinking we would take about, I think it's about 7 or 8 minutes. I've got 3 songs. They all have to do with Ostara is the Celtic name for this feast, this day, this equinox. So we'll start with Femke Blom and then go on to David Hicken, and then this Celestial Eon project. Before we get going, any quick questions? Okay, now if I can, just in case you didn't bring a labyrinth, I'll leave this up and you can actually, you know, walk this on your screen. You would just, I'll use my cursor. You'll take your finger and slowly trace. You have to start down here. That's the entrance. Okay, so I'll come back to this. But for now, I'm going to start the music. And then we'll come back. There's a short little poem and we'll see if we have anything we want to share. And Diana, if you don't rejoin us, I'll know that you're having a wonderful birthday party.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
I'm enjoying this very much.
Well, good. You could catch the rest of it. It's being recorded and
Okay.
you could see the rest of it. All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
So you bet. So let's see if I can do this. Bob, you'll have to let me know if you hear it okay. Thank you.
But we're not seeing the labyrinth, Marina.
Mm. Nancy Wood wrote a poem called Spring, Bringing the Buds to Life. Listen, in the earth, the seeds are stirring and making noise, like the birds whose song has been silenced by winter. Now the snow is being devoured by Sun, our elder, and in the branches, the persistence of our prayers is bringing the buds to life. So, this is the time where we have a few minutes if anybody wants to share um, any insight or inspiration, anything that came to you during the walk. And if you just maybe, I don't know, give a sign. Actually, this is so tiny, you probably could just start talking. Glad you're still here, Diana.
Thank you.
Bob, you're muted.
I was intrigued to notice the physical sensations that I felt um, uh, while walking with my finger, but also the music became a part of it. Um, but I do love walking the labyrinth in person and actually out on a piece of land and moving my feet through the path. Um, and so it surprised me that I was actually experiencing a piece of that this way, which is very nice. It was a feeling of relaxation and being. Um, I think I've been online too much today, and so part of what was happening was it was giving me the opportunity to let go of that and to be more in touch with something more authentic about myself or about the meaning of the labyrinth and the day. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Maybe you got to see how you really feel. Good.
Yeah, I
Thanks
know
for
for me, music made it a different experience as well. It's the first time I can recall singing as I go through the labyrinth and come back out. But since I'm by myself muted, why I can sing all the way in and sing all the way out. And that was fun to integrate it into the music and have my messages be integrated into the music. That was an interesting application that way.
Yeah, I have enjoyed that in real life because I was alone on a physical labyrinth. It is nice. It is special. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Carolyn.
Well, I had an interesting e- experience, and I thought I thought the labyrinth was gonna that you had shown us, Marianne, was gonna be up, and so when the music was going, just had your picture in front of me, and the wall in back of you was like vibrating with the music. Yeah, it was very interesting. And so I loved watching that. And I really kind of tuned into that for a while because there's also like a light um, in that wall as well. With the vibration. So I really got into that. And then I thought, okay, I'll just go back to my labyrinth now. But I really loved watching that. It was just like watching, just like seeing energy moving.
Well, to quote Penny, we are flowing energy within flowing energy. I do apologize though. I intended to come back to that image of the labyrinth and I plumb forgot. I apologize. I think Bob tried to tell me.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Now you're muted, Carolyn.
Yeah, she gave us a link a long time ago, so I just screenshotted it, and the only way I seem to be able to find it is I'll search. I just put Labyrinth, and then it pops up for me. But I tried this time to use my pencil, and I had a hard time. It was better with my finger, as I kept getting on the wrong line.
Yes.
It's so small.
It takes much concentration. I was telling Bob earlier, I use my baby finger on my non-dominant hand, and it's a challenge to get all the way around. I don't usually without making a mistake and getting outside of the lines. Gee, we're not perfect. Imagine that.
The thing I like about the app, if you decide to go look for it, I don't think you can be able to see. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When you move your finger over it, a blue line shows up where you've traced it with your finger,
Nice.
and it's not working. Oh, because I have to reset it.
Yeah.
You might be able to see a little bit of a blue
Yeah.
line there, Sarsa. And I mentioned to Marianne a while ago when she first alerted me to the existence of this app that there was an entirely different sensation that got layered on top of my usual experience of the labyrinth by being able to see it visually, where I had actually been. I don't know how many of you have actually walked a real life labyrinth. There's one experience you get, and because you're lost, you have no idea really at any moment precisely how far you are along, or you have kind of a little bit of a sense, but to see it visually, because I'm a very visual person, it kind of gave it a whole new nuance to the experience of it. I love that.
And I always think I've walked this so many times now. I should know this. I still don't know it. I mean, and that's okay with me. That's part of what I like.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we're not really in our heads anyway. So
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. The
You know,
cerebral stuff should be before and after, not not during.
yeah, even though I didn't bring a labyrinth with me, there's a labyrinth, a beautiful labyrinth, just 10 minutes from where I live at the Unity Fellowship, which I've walked. So I was imagining in my mind walking the labyrinth. And the sound was very helpful. I loved the sound your choice of music. Sound as a way of taking us into the veils and out of our everyday lives. So thank you for that. It was very beautiful.
You're welcome. I'm glad you liked those selections. I sat while my husband was cooking and said he knew what I was searching for. I said, "So what do you think?" "I think that's too energetic." "Yeah, you're right." I think he just agreed with me, but nonetheless, it was a fun almost collaboration.
I agree. Those are great choices.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with names like that, although some of there were others that were not appropriate for our walk with like names, It's amazing how many pieces I have found around this, which brings me to a point. So that the next time we'll have a cross quarter day, and it's Beltane on May 1st. It's a Wednesday. Bob can't be with us, but I'm going to just say somebody will be. Let's plan on Wednesday at 7:00. Is that a pretty good time for you guys?
that would be 4 p.m. Pacific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry, I talk East Coast. Okay, so, and we'll try to get more blurbs out and tell your friends and invite whoever wants to come.
Well, and hopefully we will be able to support you better, you know, creation spirituality communities. As Marianne knows, we've had a little bit of shifts in staff, and with that, we have not been as putting out reminders like we would like to have done. And I think, you know, I think it just showed a little bit in our attendance today, because I know some people that wanted to be here, and I think that could have been an issue. So I think we can hope that things will be a little bit more organized for you, Marianne, in the future, because we really appreciate so much this offering. I know I myself love coming to hear what you have to say and experience it.
Well, I'm glad you can make it, Carolyn. So, are there any other comments, questions?
Well, I'm glad I made it through most of the session, but I probably will have to leave now. So thank you so much for letting me attend.
We're finished. Thanks for coming, Diana.
Okay,
Plan on
thank you so
first.
much.
Thanks for
Enjoy your
joining.
birthday.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Hope
you.
your hip goes well.
Okay, thanks. And thanks for the song.
You're welcome. So I think that's it. So we traditionally go like this at the end and wave goodbye to everybody. And
Yeah.
this circle is here whenever you want it and need it. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ciao.
So we want to stop recording.